How we think and speak about things has tremendous impact. What you think and speak into existence will reflect on your circumstances. Our subconscious mind always listens to what we say, what we think, and believe about ourselves. It never sleeps. So evidently, when we feed ourselves with negative ideas, negative content, and we're surrounded by people thinking and speaking negatively, and we're in an environment that is deemed to be negative, obviously is not going to help our negative thoughts. So how do we get rid of them, or at least tame them, to move forward in life towards a more positive, empowering, and mindful mindset to thrive in our lives? Welcome to Conscious Matters. I'm Melissa. On this channel, I talk about conscious living through empowerment and holistic wellness, especially mindfulness. We are bombarded by content through media, through commercials, through gossip at work or at school that emphasize on these feelings of fear, of scarcity, of negativity, of judgment, unhealthy self-image, and so many things that are considered negative, or at least not that healthy for our mind and our well-being. So how do we shift that living in an environment, in a family, or in a society that promote everything that I just stated? First of all, self-awareness. But if you want to start small with few little actions every day that can really improve your mindset shift from negative to positive, or at least from negative and demeaning to growth and empowering, positive affirmations are going to be your best friend. Positive affirmations are so powerful in reframing your thinking pattern, because we're not all equal when it comes to healthy thinking, because you could have been born on a spectrum or grew up in a family or environment that was hypercritical, super judgmental, nitpicky about every single facet of your being, and you grew up thinking that you're not good enough and you have to be perfect, or developing this perfectionism so you could feel some sense of worth. It is said that your inner voice is actually the voice of your closest caretaker when you were a child. So let's retake the example of you growing up in a hypercritical and hyper-judgmental family. Positive affirmation will help you work on your core wounds of feeling unlovable, feeling not good enough, feeling like you're not doing enough, feeling not worthy as well for just being. And just like negative thinking, like the more you hear the same thing about yourself over and over and over again, especially as children and as teenagers as well, and even young adults, like the more that we hear something about ourselves, the more we tend to believe it, even though it's not the truth of who you are. Sometimes you're not even aware of it, and sometimes you're aware, but the more people repeat that to you, or even the same person repeats that to you over and over again, you start to believe it. So with the power with positive affirmations is exactly the same method, but they will feed you with positive and empowering statements that will uplift you instead of putting you down. Let's say for that person growing up in that environment, repeating to themselves, I'm enough just the way that I am, I'm worthy of the best, I am lovable because of who I am, so on and so forth. And the more that you repeat that to yourself, the more you will end up believing it. The limitation with positive affirmation is that you cannot go from 0 to 100. Your brain's not gonna get fooled by it, because the power of affirmation is that you end up believing it. If you deeply have a strong sense of unworthiness, instead of saying I'm worthy when you're very convinced that you're not, so instead of saying I'm the best version of myself every single day, and you see that is not working on you, try to shift it, try to modify it. Maybe start crescendo, start with I am capable of loving myself. And then you will see the progress in your life. You can level up your own affirmations on the next step. Like, I am doing my best every day to become the best version of myself. Instead of saying, I'm the best version of myself right away, when it's hard for you to believe it. So try to see where you are in believing in your positive affirmations, and only settle on the one that actually works for you and that you want to believe it, that you don't feel like you're lying to yourself. At first, it can be a little bit uncomfortable, sound like, okay, that's too good to be true. But when you feel like it's way too good to be true, go crescendo. Make your affirmations evolve with your growth. So the other thing that works super well in taming your negative thinking is to shift your perspective. Yes, I'm guilty of that too, like focusing on this one thing instead of taking a bird's eye view, and instead of focusing on what is not working or what you don't have, what is lacking, shift your perspective to all of the other things. What is working in your life? What do you have? What is in abundance in your life? Don't belittle your accomplishments and your blessings, even the tiniest one. When you're having the worst day ever, just try to focus on that one thing that you did right or that worked well for you. Or if it's nothing, maybe be super happy and grateful and focus on the fact that you are breathing and that you're alive and that tomorrow is another day. Take that negative and try to turn it into a positive. And I always remind myself that yes, I have it worse than others, but I have it so much better than others too. So let's try to focus on that second part of that sentence and be grateful. I'm sure that there's always at least one thing that you're doing right or that you have right in your life every single day. And another thing that goes a little bit with shifting your perspective is to stop criticizing. I mean, most of us, we live in an overly critical society. We strive for an ideal, if not perfection, but at least an ideal. And if it's not that, then we criticize. We criticize ourselves, we criticize our environment, we criticize the people around us. We are super judgy, and that feeds the negative thinking. Because if we do that to external elements, I'm pretty sure and actually certain that we do that internally. We tend to be much harsher with ourselves than with others. So the more that you criticize outside of yourself, the more you criticize inside of yourself. And that is not helping the negative thinking, that is probably ruining your life. What if we stop criticizing and just say thank you? That's it. What if you invited to your friend's place and they did the groceries, they prepared the place, they cooked for you and made everything so pretty, but they're not the best cook. So instead of criticizing the food, just say thank you. Maybe in your head, it might not be thank you for the bad food, but thank you for the attention. Thank you for the time. Thank you for wanting to please me. Thank you for the investment, financial, but most importantly, effort-wise. So just thank you. You will also feel lighter instead of being like so mad, this food is disgusting, she cannot cook or he cannot cook. Now I will have to cook at home or order takeout because this food is like so gross. Instead of that, like so many people cannot eat. So many people don't have the privilege, because now it became a privilege to have food every single day for every single meal. So thank you. Even though it's not make your taste buds happy, trade your criticism for gratitude. Change your critical and negative mindset to a positive and grateful one until it becomes natural to you. Take it as an exercise. Take it as a reminder every time that you start your judgment or your criticism. Try to catch yourself every time. You will mess up multiple times because it's a habit that we develop. But let's try to switch that and actually think about the positive and the best case scenario more often than we usually do. And honestly, that will make you grow as a healthy person. It will multiply the good things in yourself and in your life. As the saying goes, where attention goes, energy flows. So make sure your attention is where you want to put your energy in. Focusing on the positive and thinking more often about the best case scenario doesn't mean that everything is great and perfect and the world is la la land and it's wonderful. No, we still got to be realistic. But learn how to see the big picture, to realize and embrace that there's more gray than this black and white perspective that we tend to really settle on. There's more gray in situations, in people, in literally everything than black and white. A lot of things and a lot of people are much more complex and multi-layered than just the way that they appear. So let's not be too quick to judge, to criticize, and to apply that same grace to ourselves too. When we are messing up, when we are making a mistake, when we're not showing up as our best, when we're not delivering our best efforts, or simply when we're not getting what we want or what we worked for, let's take a pause. Instead of going straight to the negative, let's take a pause so we can reassess and try to focus more on the positive and uplifting. Obviously, it's not easy, easier said than done. As usual, I think all of the videos that I made to this day is easier said than done, but using the power of positive affirmations, shifting our perspective from what is not working to what is working, or from what we don't have to what we have, and stopping being overly critical and judgmental, or just simply critical and judgmental. It doesn't even have to be over, as well as seeing the big picture and embracing this gray perspective will surely shift your mindset, reprogram your mind, and encourage people around you to do the same. Because if suddenly they do what they used to do with you, criticizing, judging, being negative, gossiping on others, and you catch them in a way, or they see you not doing that anymore, they will ask themselves questions, and they will most probably try to adjust their behavior and find an interest and maybe try to incorporate that in their own lives. Or let's say that you used to be negative Nancy and people around you felt so annoyed and you had this heavy presence around them because of all of your negativity. And now being with you is becoming a joy, it's becoming a light, it's becoming less judgmental. So people start opening up more to you and they will see that shift as well. So taming our negative thinking to a more positive one really helps in living in a more positive, empowering, uplifting, and more abundant life, both for yourself and maybe for others too. I mean, our mind is the biggest trickster, because as I always say, it can be our superpower, it can be amazing, it can be such a boost for everything that we do in life, but it can also be the one that drags us in the trenches of despair, of depression, of anxiety, of so many things that are caging us in a certain reality that doesn't help us unleash our potential, express ourselves, and be the healthiest version of ourselves, of who we want to be. Our mind can really be what is holding us back. And when we don't know how to work with it the best way possible, when we don't know how to tame our negative thinking, to tame the false ideas, to quiet our inner critic, it can become very dangerous. It can be very dangerous for our health and detrimental to our growth. So let's keep on training and reprogramming our minds so we have the power over it and we use that tool the best way possible. So share in the comments what type of negative thinking you want to tame. Is it negative thinking about yourself, your judgments towards others, gossiping? What is it? What are you trying to work on when it comes to your negative thinking? And add the positive affirmation that will help you to tame that negative thinking. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. As always, stay true, keep showing up for yourself, and let your soul lead the way.